Hello everybody, Trevor here. Say, do you all remember my top 10 favorite Thomas villains video? Well, today, I'm going to do a top 5 favorite villains in Kingdom Hearts. Now, before I begin, I just want to say that I'm glad a lot of you enjoyed the last video where I discussed my top 5 playable characters in Kingdom Hearts, despite my awkward thoughts on Aqua. For this list, I'm only going to include original villains that had major roles in the Dark Seeker saga, with the exception of Lucio, but I'll get to him later. Also, I'm not going to include villains from Disney, Pixar, or Final Fantasy. Now, on to the countdown. Number 5, Anthem Seeker of Darkness. Anthem is the first original villain to appear in the franchise, and is actually Xehanort's Heartless. He is called Anthem because he stole the real Anthem's name when he became a Heartless. And throughout this series, he had been an arch nemesis of Riku until the climax in Kingdom Hearts 3, where he said that Riku was vaster than darkness, and was proud of him, which surprised me because I never expected most of the 13 Darknesses to reform after their final defeat. Another thing that surprised me besides that was that the Dark Figure, who occasionally aids Ansem in battle, was actually a container for Terra's heart this whole time. And he eventually turned against Terra Nord's orders by restraining him. But the reason he's number 5 is because his original voice actor Billy Zane stepped down after the first 2 games and was replaced by Richard Epker. No offense to Richard Epker, I kinda like him better as Terra Nord, even though he and Ansem Secret Darkness are pretty much the same character. But I think Billy Zane does a better job because he made Ansem sound so sinister and sadistic. I wonder what the series would have been like if he stayed in the voice cast. Number 4 goes to Zigbar. Zigbar is the nobody of Bragg, and is the second member of the original Organization 13. He's also the right-hand man of Xehanort. What I like about Zigbar is not only that he wields 2 arrow guns that spew out lasers, but also his catchphrase, "as if." I also thought he looked pretty cool with an eye patch and a ponytail. But what really surprised me the most about Zigbar was that in the epilogue of Kingdom Hearts 3, it was revealed that Zigbar was actually Lucio in disguise. You see, Lucio had to abandon his old form and pretty much body-snatched a lot of people just to keep an eye on the no-name Keyblade. Eventually, he chose Bragg as his final vessel, and aided Master Xehanort in the real Organization 13, as well as in the Keyblade War. You know, I wonder what Lucio originally looked like before he body-snatched people like Bragg. Number 3 goes to Vanitas. Vanitas is the extracted darkness of Ventus and the source of the Unversed. And the reason why he looks like Sora is because after young Sora used his heart to mend Ven's heart from deteriorating any further, that's when Vanitas' appearance changed to Sora's, but with black hair and yellow eyes. I'm actually very surprised that Haley Joel Osment did an excellent job giving him an evil-sounding voice that's similar to Sora's, another character voiced by Haley. When the real Organization 13 was revealed in Dream Drop Distance, I once theorized that Vanitas will be one of the 13 Seekers of Darkness because of his yellow eyes. And wouldn't you know it, it led to my expectations. In addition, I also theorized that Vanitas might be the darkness entity in Union Cross, you know, the one who killed Strelitzia in the first place. At the time I'm making this video, I really don't know whether the darkness character is Vanitas or not, but I'll be happy to be proven wrong. I wonder if we'll ever see him again in the next saga. Number 2, Xemnas. Xemnas is the nobody of Xehanort and the leader of the original Organization 13. I love Xemnas because of the ethereal blades he uses in battle, and another thing I love about him is his Darkness of the Unknown theme, which is one of my favorite boss themes in the entire series. But what makes him even more badass is his voice by Paul St. Peter. Like Ansem Seeker of Darkness, he also pretty much reformed after his final defeat during the Keyblade War. He explained to Sora and company that he feels lonely without his comrades and that a heart is nothing but pain. But Sora assures him that pain is part of being human. Then Xemnas smiles and says that it must have incredible strength. Like I said before, I never expected most of the Seekers of Darkness to redeem themselves after their final defeats, because I thought they were always evil in the first place, but I guess they have good intentions. Before I get to my number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Larxene. Sure, she's sassy and mean, but for some reason, her original persona, Elrina, seems pretty polite, so that's why she didn't make it. Marluxia. Sure, he was the main antagonist in Chain of Memories, but there were times where I do feel sorry for him, particularly when it comes to losing his little sister Strelitzia. I do hope they get reunited one day. Sayax. He would have been number 4. Luxord. I didn't add him to the list because he was very tedious to fight in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix and Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, as a secret boss. Also, after his final defeat in Kingdom Hearts 3, he gave a wild card to Sora because he thought it could turn the tables. So I guess he's not so bad after all. Dark Riku. He's just Riku Replica 2.0, but with yellow eyes. And the number 1 most favorite Kingdom Hearts villain of all time is Xehanort himself. Whether in his original elderly form, his younger self, or his other incarnations like Terranort, Xehanort is the one who's responsible for everything that has happened in the first saga of the Kingdom Hearts series, such as bringing a mass of Heartless into the Realm of Light, and bringing tragedy to those who crossed his path, including Sora, Riku, and Kairi. He was originally voiced by the late Leonard Nimoy, then the late Rutger Hauer, wherever pronounced his full name, and most recently, Christopher Lloyd. I don't care who's better than the other. I think they all did a great job voicing him. One thing that surprised me about Master Xehanort is that after Sora defeated him in the final battle, he reforms by giving up the complete Keyblade to Sora and says, "Very well done," which is something that I never expected to happen at all. I mean, he's called Xehanort for a reason, which is an anagram of no heart and another. So that's why I never expected him to become a good guy in the end. At first, I didn't like this decision when I first watched the leaked footage on YouTube back in 2019, but I can understand why Nomura made this decision because at the very beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3, young Ericus and young Xehanort were playing chess in their classroom, which foreshadows the climactic final battle in the game. After the final battle, Ericus' spirit appears from within Terra and tells Xehanort to give up the Keyblade. Xehanort refuses at first, but when Ericus declares checkmate, that's when Xehanort had a flashback where he lost the chess game against his old friend. Xehanort at that time was like, "Good game," and when the flashback was over, Master Xehanort was like, "Now I remember." And that's when he gave the Keyblade to Sora, much to his surprise. So I can see why that works so well because it shows Xehanort not only a strong character, but a sympathetic one too, especially in Dark Road. But that leads me to one question. Should Xehanort be forgiven? I think Robotnik said it best.
No!
Look guys, I can forgive the other characters for their past mistakes. I can forgive John Lasseter for his sexual allegations at Pixar. But I refuse to forgive Xehanort for his horrific crimes, especially for killing his best friend Ericus and Bert by sleep. In fact, he didn't even apologize for his actions. Or maybe he is sorry in a show don't tell kind of way. But still, I consider him my number 1 favorite villain in the first saga because of all these reasons. And I do hope we get to see him and Ericus again in the next saga. Now tell me in the comments section on which of these villains are your favorite. Do you like them all, or do you have your own personal preference? And if I made another mistake in this video, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Or if there's something I could have elaborated more on, like Anthem for instance, let me know, because I want to improve. Next time, I'm going to talk about my top 10 most wanted worlds in the next Kingdom Hearts game. And trust me, it's gonna be a fun one. This is Trevor Davis, signing off.